is that inside of every single young man, there's a rebel. Whether it's the punk rock rebels, whatever it is, every single young man has a degree of rebel in him.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take their hero and martyr him, what does that do? It solidifies the rebel status. You wouldn't believe, I've had 17-year-old kids from Slovenia email me trying to give me their life savings of $2,500. Anything to help you. The amount of money they're trying to, bro, I don't need money, thank you. These kids will do anything to keep me alive. It's true belief. It's true belief. That's why they tried to annihilate me. They thought we have to annihilate him now. He's going to get to a point where he can't be annihilated. But it didn't work. In fact, it re-solidified it. I had to find other platforms. Perhaps it slowed it down, whatever. But the hearts and minds are still there. There was a video that was on my Instagram of when I went to Slovenia. Slovenia. I've never been to Slovenia in my life. I turned up in the Chiron. I parked outside a hotel. I don't know if you guys seen it. There are 5,000 or 10,000 people outside the hotel screaming, top G, top G, top G. I'm in the room with these two chicks, and they're looking at me and looking at each other like, fuck. I was like, you're getting top G tonight. Like, I don't know. Top G, top G. They were standing there for hours. We had to call the police. They're like, it's a different level of movement. And that's what they're scared of. And I also want to say this publicly to them because I believe they are watching. I'm not the enemy to the systematic powers. I'm actually very intelligent. When you're saying earlier about Logan knowing his place, I'm not here to try and become king of Earth. I'm not here to get suicided. I'm not here to do any of that. But I do have a huge contingent of young men who believe in me. And I do understand that the things I'm teaching them are good for them. And by extension, it will be good for society. I'm not trying to take over the world, right? I'm not trying to do that because I don't want to end up in a position where I'm against the people who run the world. I'm not stupid. But their attack has failed. So now they have to sit and if they have a brain, analyze what they're going to do next. Saint status is coming one way or another. I truly and utterly believe that. I'm already having conversations with very important people. And Rumble were the first people who stood up to me and said, you know what? We've got your back 100%, including financially. And they offered me a huge financial incentive. And I said, you know what? Don't worry about that. You keep the stocks. Don't worry about it. Because I don't need money. And when you don't need money, it also puts you in a very, very powerful position. It's very rare you find a man who has that much influence who doesn't want money. I don't want money. I believe in what you're saying. Let's do it. I believe in this. Let's do it. I don't need money. I believe it. I really believe, and perhaps you'll disagree with me because you have more money than I do. And I was talking earlier about the redemption arc, and you mentioned earlier in my final video how I said I'm glad that this ban happened to me. And one of the reasons I was glad is because it gave me a chance to address the consciousness of the world. There were certain rumors about me which had spread like wildfire. And the unfortunate reality of the internet is if there's a rumor about you, no matter how many times you dispel it, if there's more clicks and more interest in perpetuating the rumor, that's what people are going to do. And this ban is to a degree a chance for a fresh start because it allows me to discuss all the rumors. People talked about me hitting a girl with a belt and me being a woman beater. That same woman has made 3 videos subsequently, 3, saying it was consensual, it was a long time ago, he's still a good friend of mine. But no matter how many videos she makes, right? The video of her saying this is bullshit gets 10,000 views. And the video of me being a woman beater gets millions of views. That's the nature of the internet. So you need a mass extinction event. You need something big to happen to address it. The other big thing that's against me is the fact that my house was raided by Romanian police. And people talk about me being a people trafficker. And that's a really, really interesting one. It's interesting because I actually kind of think it's a perfect storm. Some of the other things I say about accessible corruption or the fact I live in Romania, which has a bad reputation, makes people think, so he's a criminal over there and he can get away with it, etc. Let me tell you something about Romania. They have a bad reputation for a few things. And one of them is people trafficking, which is age old. That was from the 90s. It's not the case anymore, not at all. But they're very sensitive about it. The number one crime you'll get in trouble for in Romania is exactly that. It's the one thing that they're very sensitive about. It's the image of their country. They're not going to allow some guy to make their whole country look bad. It's like going to Dubai and bragging about fucking being a financial criminal or something. Like, no. That makes Dubai look bad. So that's the one thing you'll get in trouble for. I wasn't doing it. What happened was, and I've explained this at length, I was swatted. Loads of people have been swatted. Someone called the police with a fictitious story, a complete false story. We were having a party at our house. There was a bunch of girls there. My brother and I got bored, decided to go to the casino. We don't gamble heavily, but we wanted to go play poker. We went to the casino. left the party unattended. There was like 20 girls there in our PA, so it's only girls in the house. This is all on CCTV. This is the reason I'm not in jail. The girl gets a phone call. It's her boyfriend in America, somewhere in Massachusetts. I saw you on Instagram story. That's Tate's house. The girl, who's from Miami, actually flew over to meet Tristan. She messaged her on Instagram. The girl said, yeah, but I didn't want to be here. I'm trying to leave, and hung up. So her boyfriend, simps, bro. I don't know if he believed her. I don't know if he was jealous of us. I don't know what. Calls the American embassy in Romania and said, my girlfriend's being held against her will in this house. Now, I have absolute respect for the Romanian authorities. I would hate to live in a country where they get a phone call saying a woman is kidnapped and they don't bother to do anything about it. That would be a terrible country to live in. Of course they strapped up. Of course they turned up. They were very, very respectful. They turned up. They were all strapped, but they were very respectful. Andrew, because I'm known in the country. Andrew, Tristan, we've heard this report that it was a very cordial conversation. Look around the house, no one's here. We have CCTV in our whole house. They went to the cameras, they saw the girl on the phone, go out, get a pizza, come back, get an Uber home. They're like, well, this is bullshit. It's like, well, obviously it's bullshit. I was swatted. A guy effectively just made up a false reason and called me. Took us to the police station, do some paperwork. They came to the house initially to search the house at 5. By 8 p.m., we went to the police station, do some paperwork. By 8:45, we were released. That's it. No one talks about that. Tate's house was raided for human trafficking. He's a human trafficker. His house was raided for human trafficking. I have no charges. I'm not on bail. There's no criminal investigation. It's over. It's done. But the nature of the internet, Tate being a human trafficker gets clicks. Some girl lying doesn't get clicks. It's the nature of the internet. So I don't get a chance to dispel these things unless there was a mass banning event. And when I was talking to my team saying, look, we have to change the public image, we have to change the way it create certain things in the month before the ban, we were discussing how do we fix these rumors. And it's hard because especially when you have massive detractors, people who hate me don't want to tell the truth. They hate me. They just want to take anything they can get to attack me. Like I said, they can't attack my physicality or my success, so they have to attack whatever they can get. So there are people on the internet who repeat the same lie on repeat because that's all they want to say. So it was actually a blessing in disguise. So there's no people trafficking charges. I'm not a people trafficker. The woman's come forward saying many times I don't beat women. Like all these things are complete false narratives. And that's why the banning was a good thing, because it allows me to finally get everyone's attention and say, listen, calm down. I know I'm top G, but you can't just be a human trafficker and run around the world and get away with it. Like that's insanity. That's crazy. It's a fresh start. And although I don't believe my enemies and detractors are logical enough and intelligent enough and also non-emotional enough to accept it's a fallacy and simply stop saying it, what it does do is the Matrix has fired every bullet it has. It's the empty clip. They fired the he's a people trafficker thing. It's been proven false. They can no longer repeat it. They can't take the bullet back and reload the gun and shoot it again. So instead of having it as a nagging annoyance, instead of having it as the odd bow and arrow shot at me for the rest of human time, I'm glad they shot me with the M16 and it's done. And I survived, top G, here I am. And I can finally understand that it can't be repeated and it's finally gone away. He's talking about death. He's talking about what that's going to mean. He's talking about how I have to carry the family torch. He's talking about my responsibilities and duties. He's talking about the fact that I need to evolve and be a better version of him. He talked about these things a lot. Now, he also used to, till the day I was an adult, he still had a superior complex over me, and I respect it. My dad used to say things like, oh, you're champion now. You know, there's probably only one man left who could whoop your ass. That's who he was, right? He still believed he could beat me. You gotta love that, though. Yeah, he still believed he could beat me. That's who he was. He's like, nah, you may be champ, but there's one man left who could whoop your ass, son. And that's who he was. And I had so much respect for him. I was like, yeah, because, you're right. So that's just how he was as an individual. But I think it's the opposite. He set such a high standard in certain regards that I knew I couldn't just be some normal guy. I'd feel guilt. I feel dirty if I was just some normal dude. Like I can't just be, I'm his son. You know, like in the old movies when you watch Conan, they say, Tate, the son of da-da. I was always the son of Emory Tate, even at the chess tournaments. This is the son of Tate, the son of, the son of, the son of. The expectation was there. And instead of it preventing me from creating my own identity, I was actually the opposite. So, okay, I have to be fantastic. And I was cerebral enough. I said to my dad, look, I can't be as good at chess as you can. I don't think I can do this. And they say, well, you could, but belief is a huge part of it. So if you don't believe you can, then what else are you going to do? Because I remember telling him I didn't want to play chess anymore. He said, that's fine, but you're not going to not play chess and fucking watch TV. You play chess for 6 hours a day, so you need to come to me with a plan for 6 hours a day, son. What are you going to do with your life? And I chose fighting because I said, listen, chess is one-on-one competition without luck, without a team, no ball, no wind to blow the ball on the net. What if I fight? I said, okay, I respect that. You can be a fighter. So he wasn't trying to force me to do anything, but he was a very regimented individual, and that's who he was. And I had so much respect for him, and he was my superhero. I wanted to be like my dad. And even from a very young age, even if you were to Google up my dad, Emory Tate, and look in the chess community, they called him E.T. for Emory Tate, but also E.T. like the alien, because he was a bit strange. But the way he played chess was so unorthodox that sometimes he had some spectacular losses, but sometimes he had some spectacular victories against some of the top players in the world. So everyone was scared of him because he played with such recklessness that he was like, it was blitzkrieg. If you get through it, you survive, you get to beat him. But when it's coming hard and the heat's on, he destroyed some grandmasters so badly that they took like a year away from tournaments, like genuine like embarrassment. That's how he played. So nobody wanted to play my father because it was a risk, right? Because he's only top 200 in the world, but he's smoking top 10. Sometimes he loses, but sometimes he'll fucking take your head off. So he was an anomaly. So whenever I went to a chess tournament, they're like, Tate's here, Tate's here. There's always the rumbles and Tate's here, Tate's here, Tate's here. So the name was always feared. And I think that was part of it for me. I wanted, when I turned up to a fight event, Tate's here, Tate's here. I want my name to mean something, right? I wanted it to mean something like, and that was always very important to me. And I was just told, look, you want your name to matter, then you have to go make it matter. It's not gonna matter by default. And if you have good parents, and some hardship and some trauma, I think any man can become anything. And he just made it clear that as you excel in life, you're gonna have a lot of enemies. And if you can't rely on your brother, you can't rely on anybody. And even when we were kids and we would argue, I remember one time we were arguing over Lego, dumb shit. And we were in the dining room and we're arguing over Lego, and my brother ran in there and said, Andrew stole the Legos, da da da. And he said, I don't have time for this bullshit arguing over fucking Legos. And my brother was crying because we'd had a little fight and I'd hit him or whatever. And he put us in the dining room. He said, you're both staying in this room in fucking silence for 2 hours straight. If I hear a noise, I'm starting the timer. So sit here. And we're both scared to get hit from him, right? So we're like, shit. So we sit there. And we're sitting there looking at each other, two 10 and 8-year-olds crying, angry at each other. And as soon as one of us would like move on the seat, he'd say, I'm starting it again. And after 2 hours of sitting in perfect silence, it got to the point where me and Tristan learned, just don't argue around dad, because you're gonna end up just sitting in silence, staring at each other in the face, just sitting there. So we just didn't argue around dad anymore. And then by extension, mom was like, I'll tell your dad. So it was like, oh shit. And then we just stopped arguing completely. Me and my brother have not had a serious argument in years.
Gotta love it.
Well, if we disagree,
wow.
We'll like, okay, we disagree, da-da-da. It'll be 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Sure.
But we'll never, ever argue. We share everything. We live in the same house, all the cars we share, bank accounts, like besides women in underwear, you name it. We share absolutely everything from head to toe. We never, ever, ever argue. And another key to that relationship is Tristan accepting I'm the older brother. That is a big key to it. Tristan will accept.
Older or alpha? There's a difference.
It is a difference, but I also think if we ever do truly contest, he will say, okay, well, it's 50-50. And I might pull out this card once a year of that, but you're the older brother. So there still is that older brother
Meaning
thing.
he knows you're the alpha.
I think so, yeah. I think he knows, well, you're the big brother. You're the older one, so thing. So if we're ever 50-50 on a call, I'm the older brother, so that's it. But I also, unlike a social media company, know when to use my power. I also know when to concede, when to say, you know what, okay, you know more about this, or you know more about that, or you care about this more than I care. I don't give a shit, whatever. But very rarely I can pull that card. But he was very, very interested in creating that relationship and making it very, very clear to us that as my father lived in a combative world where he was surrounded by enemies in his mind, whether it's a Corolla with a license plate, whether it's people trying to kill him, whether whatever, the KGB agent at the chess tournament who threatened him in Russian. My father was fluent in Russian. He always had enemies. And he was actually attacked and very badly hurt in Budapest in 1998. He played in a chess tournament. He beat a Russian grandmaster, and then he was jumped and beaten in the subway, had to be hospitalized, and nearly killed him in a subway in Budapest in 1998. He believed it was a hit from the KGB, but the guy was an ex-KGB guy. I personally think you just beat an ex-KGB guy, pissed him off. Wrong place, wrong time. Eastern Europe was different in the 90s. They hurt him bad. So he lived in a very combative world. And in his world, it was, Andrew, they're gonna come for you. You're a Tate. They're gonna come for you like they came for me. And if you haven't got Tristan, you haven't got anybody. And he always taught us.
Combative or paranoid?
And that's the thing. You're paranoid until you're right. You can be paranoid for 20 long years. And then it goes down. So it's hard to once again say. It's also, again, like when I talk about my father, we talk about, let's say, the number plate things. What's this person following them? No. But that's his world. Your mind is your world. if in your world, we talked about believing in things that give and giving it power. If you believe you're being followed, you're effectively being followed. Like, what's the difference, right? So he was paranoid, but he was reacting to the reality he lived. And that was who he was. And he had enough unfortunate incidents involving pure violence to know that the world can get violent quickly. And this is the difference between fighting and violence. We talk about this all the time. People say, oh, Tate, you're a fighter. And I say, listen, I grew up in a world of violence. And even to this day, I know some very, very violent people. And there's a massive difference between fighting and violence. I've seen genuine violence. It's an ugly thing. Like, I'm a fighter, right? But if I had a real beef with someone, let's say they killed a member of my family, I wouldn't be trying to fight that man. I'd be aiming to be violent. An SUV on a pavement is violent. 10 dudes with a machete is violent. Like, violence is violence is when you don't allow any chance of victory for the opponent. Violence is there's no competition involved. Violence is just pure attack. And my father's been subject to that, and he survived it. But he's seen how it works, and he's just made it very clear. Andrew and Tristan, your best hope is together. You can't do it apart. You can't do it separate. And this is also, I think, a lot of our mentality, even to simple things like girlfriends. Because a lot of brothers, they get different girlfriends and they move in with their different girlfriends, and their girlfriend doesn't want them hanging around with their brother because they're too busy having fun getting girls and all this kind of shit. And to a degree, your relationship with females can attack your power dynamic of your brothers. But me and my brother never allowed that. If I sat with a girl and she said, oh, your brothers, I don't like your brother. I said, listen, you better learn. You can learn or you can leave his house. This is your house. This is our house. You can choose. You like the Tate brother. You like me, obviously romantically, but you like him. He's your best friend. Or you can leave this house. And some girls have left. That's fine. But we've always allowed nothing to get in between us. And I think even if I analyze the Paul brothers, Jake and Logan, I think if you look at their podcasts carefully, they talk about like some girlfriend, they both fuck the same girl and all this stupid shit. But like, he's your brother, bro. Look, fucking some girl. She's forgot about both of you. It's crazy. You gotta have that blood bond. And I think in many other cultures in the world, this is more common. Like, I grew up in Luton, which is it's England, but it's a very, very Muslim town. And all the gangsters and dangerous people, and even the most successful businessmen, all of them, when I was in college, were Muslim guys. And I was like, hey guys, what's your fucking secret? How are you doing this? You work in a chicken and chip shop, a fast food restaurant, and you're pushing a Lambo. How? He's like, well, I have 9 brothers. I was like, yeah, but what does that mean? He goes, no, because when he used to call me white. When you white boys have 9 brothers, you all get 9 girlfriends and go pay 9 different rents. When I have 9 brothers, that means 9 women move into the family house. They all cook and provide, and us 9 men go make money and we pool our family incomes. How can we not have a Lamborghini and own the house we're in and the house you're renting? I think that I have so much respect for it, because I respect anybody who says what they mean and means what they say, and I feel like they're the only religion who do. I feel like every other religion is so wishy-washy that it doesn't mean anything anymore. I don't believe in ignoring the tenets of your own religion for acceptance or for mainstream news to like you. Then what do you have? They say what they mean what they say. And primarily they focus on family and their own. And I have to absolutely respect that. And like I said, I grew up around these huge Muslim families where all of them had pretty unremarkable jobs and they still had property portfolios and supercars. And I was just like, okay, that's the power of brotherhood. That's all it is. I only had 1 brother. I wish I had 10. Imagine there was 10 Tate brothers.
Oh no, I don't think I'm ready for that.
So imagine the world then. I don't think he would comment so much on what's happening to me more than he'd comment on how I'm handling it, which has also been a massive source of strength for me. Like, if he were to come back to life for a day, I don't think we'd waste much time talking about the Matrix and why they're doing it. I think he already had an innate understanding of that because of how he lived his life and how he was attacked. He already understands all of it. It would just be how I am dealing with it personally and how I'm using it to my advantage. The moves on the chessboard. And once again, when I was saying before about using your last name and the duty to it as a massive source of power, that's been a massive source of power to me my whole life and during this experience. Like, they've attacked me from every angle. They've tried to destroy me from every angle. I'm a Tate. This is gonna backfire. They pushed that pawn, and I'm about to fucking wreck them. That's just who I am, right? So I think he'd be far more happy with how we've handled it as opposed to commenting on what's actually happened. And my father was very, very family oriented. The other thing he'd be very, very big about is talking about me and my brother and making sure that we have progeny and raising them correctly. He made it very clear to me for a very long time, the most important thing you can do is have children. This is the most important thing you can do. The rest of it, it's the link to the... He told us that. He said, in fact, on his own Twitter account. My father's not banned from Twitter. He stopped tweeting in 2014, maybe. Tate Terrific on Twitter. You can look him up right now. He has a few tweets on Twitter. Obviously, he's dead. The account's dormant. It's all there. Tate Terrific. And one of his tweets is, "Love is my link to the future. I have 3 kids. If I could live forever, I would deny it. The better versions of myself already walk the earth." That's what he said. And he said that before he died. So he has all his tweets. And still to this day, sometimes I'll go back and read some of his tweets. And it gives me inspiration. I'll give you another one he said. I read only a few days ago because I read through his Twitter account sometimes. He said, "I allow manipulation to see where my enemy wants me to go. Then I use my mind to break the trap and punish all perpetrators." And I like that. So he'll watch the news. I used to see my dad watch the news, allow the manipulation, watch it all, turn it off and say, "Son, this is bullshit." And he'd sit there and dissect it all from head to toe. So he'd allow manipulation. He wouldn't deny it. He wouldn't say, "No, don't come at me with bullshit." He'd say, "Oh, you have a bullshit story. Come tell me your bullshit story. Come tell me."
He would say, "Don't watch the news. It's all bullshit."
No, tell me.
Embrace it.
And then he'd use his
and
mind to break the trap and punish the perpetrators. So he was very understanding of this. And a lot of his tweets are good for these kind of things. He's saying, allow them to attempt to manipulate you. It's no problem. Another thing he says, one of the things I said earlier in this podcast was his. You must analyze every firmly held belief you have, realize where it came from, who gave it to you, and if they have your best interests at heart, resist the slave mind. He said all this stuff, so I'll tweet it out. So yeah, he's still alive to a degree, you know. So whether he's watching or not, on one of my Instagram posts, which got deleted, there was a Povetkin, the boxer. It was a interaction in his corner of the 11th round of a title fight for Povetkin in the early 2000s, and his corner was saying, "Do you miss your father?" And he was saying, "Yes, I miss my father." He goes, "If you become champion, he lives forever." And he's right. If you become remarkable enough as a man, they talk about your origin story, which is your father. So it is my duty to my father to be the man I am.
Totally.
No one would be talking about my dad, maybe in chess circles, but no one would be talking about my dad in mainstream consciousness if I wasn't who I am.
No doubt.
So I keep him alive.
Yeah.
And it is my son's duty to do exactly that for me, to keep me alive. The man who got banned and broke social media big tech monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
This is my son's job. So this is what's so important. He lives forever through me.
Yeah.
And he'll live through it and I will live forever through my son. And that's the beautiful thing of it. Yeah, my sister is very successful. She is a lawyer, and I do think it resonated to a degree. However, I think my father's worldview was so primal and so based in many things which have a masculine edge, like threats and violence and enemies and things that women don't truly consider, that I think his teaching style was far more akin to men. And even, I think that's just how he was. I think that it's easier for a man to adopt it. I don't think that many women, and I don't want to be labeled a misogynist, this is just my worldview. I don't think many women have a true, because it's not their job to be, to some degree, they feel like men should protect them to some degree. Most of them, I don't feel like they have a true akin to threats sometimes. I give a million different examples, but if I go on a date with a girl in a restaurant, the first thing she wants to do is put on Instagram instantly. Like, no, whoa. You can't, we're here now. Like, you can't be putting that we're in this restaurant with the napkin and that's how they kill Pop Smoke. Like, calm down. But it doesn't consider their mind there's a threat, or that many women don't accept that there are groups of men right now sitting in rooms, scrolling social media, looking for someone to get. Looking for someone to get. They're just sitting there, 10 brothers from fuck knows where, sitting there just going, that was 10 minutes ago, this tag. Oh, Mr. Bugatti.
Yeah, Tate's in Miami at the club right now.
It's real. This doesn't really cross female consciousness sometimes. And I understand why, because I think if a woman knew how dangerous the world is, she wouldn't leave the house. So it's easier just to not look at that world. But the way my dad taught and the things he said, it resonated with me and my brother more than it would resonate with my sister. My sister's still very, very successful in her own way, and she's married now, and she's a kid, etc., and she has her own man, etc. But also, I think when a woman gets married, she takes influence from the man she marries. Yeah, so my mother was fantastic. She was an amazing mother. I don't know if I can talk about positive and negatives. My mother was very much subservient to my father, which was a good thing. They used to have arguments, etc. And I think I learned a lot of my lessons, I guess, on male-female dynamics to a degree from my childhood. Like, I remember one time my father was away at a chess tournament for a month and a half. He was away for a really long time. He was at a chess tournament, playing chess all over the country. Came back after a month and a half. Within 45 minutes, him and my mom are arguing. I think she found something in his pocket, a phone number, so I don't know what it is. Started arguing. We just walked in the house. They started arguing, and he came down to me and said, "Son, give me a hug." Gave him a hug. He goes, "All right, see you in a few weeks." It's like, "Where are you going?" He goes, "When you're older, you'll understand. Your mother won't shut up." walked out the door. I didn't see him again for 2 weeks. That's who he was. Like, I come home. Oh, you want to, fuck this, fuck. That's how he was as a man, right? So I learned, I'm not saying that I'm that way, but this is my childhood, right? I saw it. But my mother was quite subservient to my father. My father was certainly a disciplinarian. He was certainly the man who was in charge of the house. My mother did her job fantastically. She taught us how to read. She fed us very well. She made sure we ate good. And my dad's basic tenet was, your mother is in charge of keeping you alive. Food, go to bed on time, eat good, go to school, She's in charge of keeping you alive. But I'm in charge of teaching you how to be a man and conquer the world. So we have different roles. So she's gonna keep you alive. I'm gonna turn up when I turn up. I'm gonna teach you some shit.
I'm gonna teach you how to live.
I'm gonna teach you how to live. And they're different things. So they had very clear defined roles. To this day, my mother, she's still alive. I've retired her completely. So the first thing I did when I got rich was retire my mother. First thing I did, because my mother was, when they broke up, so the sad story of my father, which I've never told, but I'll tell it now. My father was in the Air Force. He discharged. After they diagnosed him with narcissistic personality disorder, they offered him a full military pension, $6,000 or $7,000 a month, saying that, you have this mental disorder, we'll give it to you because you were such a fantastic member of the Air Force. My dad was actually in intelligence. Some right-wing people on the internet think I'm a CIA plant because my father was with intelligence. I'm not a CIA plant. But my father was in intelligence. So when my father joined the Air Force, he got on the bus, like everyone else did back then in Alabama, got on the bus, you go, you do an IQ test. My father did so good, they moved him to intelligence. And my father, to this day, still holds, I believe, at the time of his death, he still held it, the fastest assimilation of a foreign language. So back in the 80s and 90s, if they needed someone who speaks Russian, they'd train a native English or American person. Nowadays, you can get an Estonian or a Latvian because they're pro-EU and they speak Russian fluently. It's easy. Back then, you needed a Russian speaker. You'd teach them. So they taught my dad Russian. He learned Russian fluently in 15 days, head to toe. So he held the fastest assimilation of the Russian language. I know that because when he died, I got a message on Facebook, Meta. I got a message on Facebook from a guy who I had never heard of, just saying, hi, you don't know who I am. I was in the Air Force with your father. I heard of his passing. I just want to let you know that I was in the same place as your father. I was a linguist also for the Air Force. At the time, I was living with a Russian woman and we spoke Russian fluently in the house. And your father and I started classes at the same time. And I can say with certainty, the way your father learned things was inhuman. It was robotic. Within 3 weeks, he was correcting me on my Russian. Like that's who he was, right? So he spoke Russian and Spanish and German. We were also in Berlin at the fall of the Berlin Wall. So he did a lot of things. So he was a linguist. So he used to listen to the bugs. If they bugged a room, he'd listen to the bug in Russian and translate it. So that's what my father did. But anyway, when they discharged him, they said he had narcissistic personality disorder. And the reason they said he had that is because he refused to listen to one of his commanders. I don't know the exact story, so I don't want to say it on tape, but he refused to listen to one of his commanders about a recording on a tape. And my father was arguing with him about the translation of a certain word. My father believed it was slang for something else. Superior believed it was something else. They got into a personal beef. It developed over months and months and months of arguments about translations. And eventually, my dad ended up being told to sweep outside for 8 hours a day. And I got to the point where my father got discharged. So when they discharged him, they diagnosed him with narcissistic personality disorder because they said he wouldn't listen. And they offered him this military pension and he refused it. He said, my sanity is not for sale. And I know that line because my mother used to scream all the time when we were broke in the house. You could have had money, Emory. My sanity's not for sale. Because we went broke. Because now we went broke. Now we went broke, right? So I remember them arguing, Emory, we could have had money, now we're broke. So because he became a professional chess player, he couldn't pay the bills, and we were living in Indiana and South Chicago. We were in the ghetto with no money. So I remember him saying that all the time. So eventually, my mother was English. We decided to move back to England because England has social housing. You get a free house and you get benefits and that kind of thing. We moved back and my father stayed there. So I didn't see my father very much from the time I moved, but my mother was always in charge of keeping me alive and he was just in charge of like giving me the lessons and stuff. So yeah, it was an interesting life, but he was a super principled man. Like he turned down money. What was actually interesting towards the end of his life, about 3 or 4 years before he died. No, it must have been way before that because I didn't have money yet. Maybe 10 years before he died, he called me and said, I've been principled for so long and the way the world's turning and what American government's doing. And maybe I should have just signed. Or do you think I should have just signed? He didn't say maybe. He said, do you think I should have just signed? I said, no, Dad, no. You get to live with a pure heart. You shouldn't have just signed. Your mother's saying that I should just sign it now and because I get back pay.
Sign what exactly?
Sign the narcissistic personality disorder, sell his sanity, and get back pay, which at the time would be like $500,000. It's all your fault. You're wrong about everything. You're a psycho. Your sanity is for sale. You sell your sanity for $5,000 a month.
Your disability is for
your
sale.
Disability, yeah. So he found out that he could get back pay if he signed it. So he had a long conversation with me, and I said, look, Dad, I think you did the right thing. I'm so proud of you. And we talked back and forth. He said, you know what? Your mother, this is the time we didn't have money. Your mother is a dinner lady. My mother was a dinner lady at this point. After we moved to England, we had some things, but she was a dinner lady. She got like $400 a month for cleaning plates. She had arthritis. She was starting to get bad knee from standing up all day. Because, you know, I'm not even with her anymore. She caused me so many headaches, but I can't let her just wash dishes, son. I might just sign it. I was like, well, Dad, the choice is yours. My dad agreed. He goes, look, I'm running out of time anyway. I'm running out of life. I taught you boys a lesson. You know what? He went to sign it. He went to the military to try and sign it for the back pay. They declined it. He said, you're not crazy anymore. No, wouldn't give him money. Funny that. So let's talk about, that's another story. So when he died, I still didn't have that much money. But then after he died, luckily I started to make money about a year, 2 years later. And because he tried to retire my mother, obviously I also have an own debt to my mother. The first thing I did when I made money was retire my mother. So I'd say to this day, about 15 to 20% of my income goes to my mother. And she has panic attacks. Like she'll check her bank and be like, what is it? This is too much money. I can't buy it. She's like scared of it. I'm like, just buy a Lambo, chill, it's fine. I made a joke saying that when I travel quickly, I like to travel with just men. If I'm going to a place for a week, I'll take women, fine. But if I have to hit, let's say 4 countries in 2 days on the jet, I like to only take men. And they said, why? I said, well, and it was a joke. We were all sitting on a podcast. I said, well, traveling with a woman's like traveling like kids. They get hungry, they have bags, they need the toilet. With men, it's just military. In, out, boom, no sleep. In, out, boom, no sleep. Pack the bag, no sleep. On the jet, no sleep, no sleep. No. You're gonna be military, you can get it done. That's what I said, right?
We have a Marine over here being like,
that's what I said. When I take my girlfriend, she's like, oh, we haven't slept in 2 days. I'm really, really hungry, Andrew. It's like, oh, so am I. Shush. Like, it's just different. So, and that gets taken out of context and they don't accept it's a joke. It's a joke. To a degree, it's a joke. I mean, I still mean what I say, but to a degree, it's a joke. The analogy upsets. And I think that this is kind of something that's missing from modern society. When you have a duty to your bloodline and a duty to your ancestors, that is something which you carry with yourself away from cameras and away from the eyes of the outside world. So it's been something that's been massively beneficial to me. Even when I went through hard times in my life, I understood that being a Tate prevented me from doing anything that's detrimental to myself. Even basic things. We talked about, let's say, heartbreak. If I had my heart broken when I was young, instead of chasing a girl and embarrassing myself, I could sit in my room alone and think, I'm a Tate. I can't do that. I can't. It's not how Tates act. Love you very much. Goodbye. And I missed her with all my heart, but that was the game. Just let her go fuck someone else and just be heartbroken a while and get over it. Because I felt a duty to my last name. So what he did exceptionally well was instill duty to the bloodline and duty to the ancestors. We understood who my family were, understood where we came from, knew who my grandfather was, my great-grandfather was, etc. And he always had very, very high expectations of me. And it's often interesting. People say, you know, if you have too high expectations on kids, it's bad for them, da-da-da. I can only talk from my personal experience. The fact that such high expectations were held for me were a massive benefit to me. My father was a disciplinarian. He was also in the Air Force. If I fucked up, he hit me. He never beat me. He never abused me. But there was certainly a realm in which if I fucked up, I get slapped. It only happened twice maybe, ever. But I knew it was an option.
Your father's only hit you
twice in my life, yeah. And I say this, I said this on Twitter when I had a Twitter account. Someone was saying that hitting kids is bad. And I said, yeah, I understand. You can't abuse kids. It's a fine line. I know it's a very nuanced, detailed argument. But in the real world, there are lines that if you cross, violence appears. If I get in your face as a man and start running my mouth, sooner or later, it becomes physical. That's the real world. So as an upbringing of a child, I think there should be lines that if they're crossed, violence appears. I don't see anything wrong with that. I was never abused in any way, but if I really fucked up, and both times now in hindsight, I fucked up massive. And I learned. And I was taught, oh shit, that's a line. And I think especially with young men, if there's never gonna be a physical line, what line is there? Especially with young, rebellious men. I don't know. But maybe that shaped my mindset for a long time because I always understood there are lines that if you cross, things become physical. And I've always kept that in mind for how I conduct myself. I say this all the time. Once again, I see this in YouTube videos. I don't argue with people. If I get in a disagreement on the street, I don't argue. I don't, hey bro, you parked, That's not who I am. I'm like, okay bro, leave it. I leave it to the last second until I feel like there's no other choice, and then it's pure violence. Because I don't see the point in arguing. That's feminine to me, a verbal argument. Like, I try my very best to de-escalate, because you never know who you're fucking with. You never know if they want to go to jail. But there's a line, and it gets to that line where that's the only possible repercussion. That's all that can happen. And I try very hard to stay away from that line, but I've always been very aware that line is there. And that served me very, very well in my life. The morgue and the prison, both of them are full of egos. And because I know I can handle myself, I'm the #1 guy to talk down a fight. But once I realized that talking ain't gonna work, I'm the complete opposite. And I think that was taught by my father.
Wow.
That's how I was taught. If anyone listens to my content, I champion masculine, strong men who protect women. That's what I champion. I say all the time, people trying to say I'm negative and my mindsets are negative. If you call a police officer in the heat of battle, you want men brave like me. If you call a fireman, you want him to charge into a burning building. You want men with the tenets I teach. We are protectors of society. We're absolutely not the predators of society. It are the people who are my detractors, the ones I talked about, who are objectively unattractive and objectively unsuccessful. They are the predators, not successful men. I have no need to kidnap anybody. In fact, I beg them to leave my house. I'm not trying to beg them to stay. I'm like, listen, the party's up, young lady. Please go home. So it's absolute insanity, and I'm glad I can finally clear the air on that one. So this is all coming. We're just waiting for public sentiment to shift, and it is shifting in real time. I have my own team monitoring social media comments in real time. At the height of the shitstorm, at the true height of the shitstorm, it was 50-50. It's currently 80-20. It's only going one way. They can't. The problem with the social media companies in the Matrix, they fired all their bullets. They can't start printing again that I'm a misogynist. They can't get the Daily Mail to do a new story on how I'm dangerous. They've done it all. They've run out of ammo, and I'm still alive. They've emptied the clip, and it hurt me, but I got up. And now they're like, click, click, shit. What else are they gonna do? What are they gonna say about me now?